Hello, 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 and welcome to the Broken to Beautiful podcast, where we believe that the Lord will give you beauty or ashes. If you are new here, sis, welcome. This is a safe space. If you've ever felt unseen, unheard, not quite sure how to begin again, welcome. If you've been tuning in, been listening, welcome back. You are in for a treat. My guest today is Miss Joni, and first let me say what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about becoming whole and healing before the next relationship. Ladies, y'all know this is an important one. And Miss Joni here, Joni Woods, is a certified life coach. She's a relationship specialist and author of Burn, Block, and Better Than Ever. I love that. And she's here to share how God led her from a place of broken patterns to emotional wholeness and healthy love. Ever lost yourself trying to be someone for someone else? This conversation will speak to your heart. So let's dive in. Welcome, Joni.
Thank you so much for having me.
Listen, I'm so happy to have you on this much needed topic today. I mean, your story is so powerful. If you can just start by sharing what led you to end a 15-year marriage and begin your healing journey.
So how that started was his addiction really started up in a way where I knew that we weren't aligned anymore. The base of when we got married and the values and everything that we started out with, not where we were at. And so when I can see that the path he's looking to take is not something that we planned on, that we agreed
Yeah.
on, that we committed to. It was time for me to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't in alignment anymore.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. And I know what you mean. I'm divorced as well. It was 12 years for me. And I don't think we were ever aligned, but that's another topic. But I understand what you're saying. When you have that moment, you're like, wait a minute, this is not, yeah, it's not what I thought it to be. And like you said, I know addiction was one of the reasons why I left as well. I made that decision for me and my kid.
Mhm.
And that decision, it was a decision that had to be made, right? It's like, what do you do? You know, just staying there and coping and just kind of, what's the word that I'm looking for? Just staying in an unhealthy situation just because it's what you used to, right?
Mhm.
That's easy because you're doing that. I'm doing it. I mean, I like it, but I'm doing it. I get up, I go to work, I do what I'm supposed to do. And yeah, but making that decision is the tough part.
Well, and the hard part was, I mean, it's not like we didn't try. We were in marriage
Yeah.
counseling for 8 out of the 15 years. We were in 8 years.
Wow.
At the end of it, when our last meeting, and this was probably the pivotal point, is he looked at our therapist and said, 100% of the problems in our marriage is Johnny's fault. And the therapist looked at him and said, 100%? And he was
Not the
like
point five.
99.9%. I mean,
Oh,
there's no room to work. It didn't
no.
matter what I needed. It didn't matter anything. Everything was my fault. And I was like, all right, well, okay. Well, I'm gonna go find someone who doesn't
Yeah.
think I'm terrible.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, my therapist ended up emailing me and she was like, I don't know how to help you guys anymore. And for me, and it's in the book, and that
Yeah.
was really hard. Like, it was just how I've tried.
Yeah. And I feel like when you can walk away saying that you have tried and you've exhausted every effort, every avenue to try and mend or fix or work towards better, just work towards better, then hey, hey. I almost want to think we were married to cousins or something like, girl, that's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard some of the same things in marriage counseling. And you just know when the counselor is like, well, I'm proud. Well, my counselor said, look, I'm proud of Jessica for leaving. I'm like, oh my God. Like, she's like, yeah, I just have to let you know I'm glad she did.
Well, and it was terrible because I mean, we had to try to do an intervention,
Yeah.
and I mean, he flipped it around that the therapist and I had an unhealthy relationship. I was like,
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
cool.
Mm, right. Okay. My gosh. And ladies, we are laughing, but listen, when you heal from something, you can look back and yeah, yeah. We're not being insensitive. If you're going through, we just on the other side of it. So yeah, that's where the joy comes from. All right. Okay. So you talked about the pressures of, just to perform and please others, right? What did it take for you to stop changing yourself for love? When did you stop? What did that take for you?
I think when so there was a very specific situation in our marriage. I was a stay-at-home mom and I was doing my stuff. I was cleaning the house and, again, trying to make this marriage work. I cleaned up. I
Mhm.
got, I put on makeup. I tried to look good for my husband when he came home from work.
Sure.
And as soon as he walked in the door, he was like, "What'd you do to your face?" And I was like,
Gosh.
I did that because I wanted to bring my best self to you,
Yeah.
not what we're supposed
Yeah.
to do. And at that point, I was like, okay, well, I loved myself. I thought I
Yeah.
looked good that day. I thought,
Yeah.
here I am showing up. And to get that kind of rejection in the most intimate relationship you're supposed to be having, I was like, it's time. It's time for me to take care of me. It's time for me
Yeah.
to hold me closer and
Yeah.
about me than he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate when you have to make that decision. Listen, there comes a point in time where you have to,
Yeah.
like, gosh, like your story resonates with mine so well. Like, I remember the moment that I had, similar to yours, I had dressed up, I made dinner, all for him not to even come home.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Did all the things. Kids are asleep. And have a nice dinner. I dressed up, looked nice, not to come home. Yeah. Yeah.
that's rough.
So I'm telling you, and you have to, in those moments, I mean, what do you do? I mean, I guess, you know, continue with that and just kind of, for lack of better words, just put up with it? Or do you choose yourself? Like you said, you love yourself and you have to love yourself enough to say, hey, this is not working. This is hurting me.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. I don't like how this feels. And I want better.
Well, and I think for me, one of the big things that I worked through was, would I tell my kids to stay in this?
That's it.
You know,
Yeah.
like if my daughter came to me and told me that her husband said that to her boyfriend, I'd be like, girl,
Yeah.
you know, recognizing that I wasn't setting the bar high enough for
Mhm.
even my children to want to be in a relationship. Like I would not have allowed, I would look at my daughter and be like, out,
You're right,
get
girl.
it, run, run,
Right.
my son,
Far.
run, and why am I allowing it? Why am I okay with it?
Right. Right. Oh my gosh. And that's one of the things. See, I have boys, right? And that's one of the things when I got divorced and the Lord started to work with my heart and deal with that part of me. And I had to sit down with them and apologize to them because I had put up with it for so long and they deserved better. They deserve to see a better example. And it's like you said, I thought about them. I don't want them growing up thinking that it's okay to treat their wives, their girlfriends, no.
No,
So
no,
we have to, yeah, yeah, make those decisions for the ones we love too.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So let me ask you this. What are some of the biggest signs that someone isn't healed before entering a new relationship?
I think the biggest sign is falling so fast. You know,
Yeah.
like it's a spark, it's a firework, those are beautiful but they're done in a minute. You go to fireworks, you're waiting for the next firework. You're waiting for the grand finale.
Yeah.
A spark in a pan, all of those things. But it's like if
Yeah.
they are suddenly all about you and how amazing you are and everything is just wonderful. You're the best thing that ever came into their lives. It's like
Right.
red flag. I mean, to be fair, I love it.
Right. Of course.
It really strokes the ego. It really makes me be like, thank you. Like I'm so hungry for attention at this point. But it's
Right.
it's a honestly a red flag. It is one of the most immediate red flags because I'm like, none of us are perfect. We don't walk into a relationship perfect. In fact, I think some
That's
of some of the healing that we need to do is in relationships because we were built for relationships. We were
yeah.
built to be together and to grow and learn and heal. Some of
Yeah.
those broken parts has to be in relationship. And
Right.
you have to like time out and say, thank you for giving me all of this praise and all of this everything. But,
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
Right.
Hard to say because, again, it's filling what we were missing, and so we don't wanna give that up.
That's true. That's true. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about boundary, right?
I love
Yes. Oh my goodness. I had to learn it. I had to learn it. How can we as women learn to set them without feeling guilty or afraid of rejection? You know, you just meet someone and it's like, I want to set a boundary, but if I set this boundary, they're not going to call me again. They're not going to text me, you know?
always told people, I said, I look at boundaries as a house. You've got your home. Every person is their own home. Even in when you're in a relationship or a marriage and you're coming together as one. You have your own home and you've
Mhm.
got this beautiful little picket fence. To be fair, I think Father of the Bride because I think it's just such a cute little, you know, and when there's this nice, beautiful path that leads up to the door, those are,
Mhm.
he particularly this movie because I'm a big movie, you know. So he's dancing around in the last movie. He's like, "Don't step on the begonias" or whatever. Because they've made this beautiful path, but it's a boundary. It's something
Right.
where you don't go in and you trample on stuff. And
Mhm.
so when they're trampling on that, that's where you get to say, wait a second. I set that boundary so clear. I made it so clear that this was important to me. You stay in this boundary. And when you go outside of that, that means you no longer respect me.
Right.
I'm okay with me being bye bye because it's no longer a rejection because
Mm.
I made it so clear.
Yeah.
I had a beautiful picket fence. I made it look so beautiful. I worked so hard at setting clear boundaries to get to my front door. And when you intentionally tear down that fence, you trample
Yeah.
begonias, you do all of that, then it's no longer I'm being rejected. It's no
Mhm.
longer that you are disrespecting me
Right. Right.
to say, I'm sorry, you're not welcome into my home anymore. That's
Mhm.
where I get to stand up and be firm and say, what are you going to do when you get in my house?
Right. Right.
Like the boundary line started at the white picket fence. The boundary line was like beautifully
Yeah.
decorated. What's going to happen
Mhm.
when you get in my house? Like,
Right. You
no.
trampled over that.
Yeah, I'm not being rejected. I am being careful. I am being proactive and saying,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I'm not gonna give you a chance to, like, be an elephant in my home. No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not gonna
I
mess with
love
my heart, my brain, my self-esteem, my self-worth. I'm not gonna let you do that because I already
yeah.
saw what you were doing on the outside."
Right. Oh my goodness. I love that whole girl. You fixed that right on up. That's exactly how we need to look at it, ladies. Okay. No fear of rejection. You set it up. Like you said, build it up beautifully. Set that boundary. Okay. I mean, I guess it just weeds them out, right?
Exactly. And dating.
Right. My goodness. So your book, let's talk about that, right? Burned, blocked, and better than ever. It blends humor and truth. So what do you hope readers gain from your transparency?
Um, a couple of things. I really want them to know that they're not alone because my story talks about a lot of where I was influenced in ways that I didn't want to be. My father, the church and some of those negative influences that can happen. Not always do, but they can. And it took so much for me to get to a point where I was like, I just want to be me. And
Right, right.
I didn't know who I was. So
Oh,
at that point, it was how do I figure out who I am while not losing who I want to be? I want to be someone who's kind and someone who's full of love and someone who's self-aware.
yeah,
To do that meant I was making a lot of choices that would be frowned upon, but
yeah,
it helped me. It helped me go, "Yeah, that's not for me." Yeah,
yeah,
like, I couldn't know what I didn't know, and that
yeah,
was the part of the book, it's like, well, sometimes you go too far on the other side, and
mm,
you need someone to say, "I hear ya.
yeah,
We made some choices we're not super happy about. Let's
yeah. Right, really back in.
Yeah, or we're okay with maneuvering and having a curvy path as opposed to a straight one, like it's because of that I've grown my empathy. Because of that I've grown my awareness. Because of that I can look at someone and be like, I see you. Like I really do.
Yeah,
I see what you're going through and I understand it's not always easy.
yeah,
And that is my favorite part of the book is, going it's a journey, it's a process, it's hard, it's ugly, but it's not all bad. Don't let
right.
people tell you it's bad.
Mhm.
You know, we all make choices. Some of us were
Right.
regretting we got married.
Yeah, been there.
So what regrets do we want to carry with us? What regrets do we use to help change us? What regrets do we use to help embolden us and be like,
Right.
it is. So that part of the book I really want people to feel connected with. And then the other part of the book is there's another side to the story.
Yeah.
We are not always as good as we wish we could be. When I was dating, that was the hard part to see was that wow, I could do better. I could take care of men in different ways.
Yeah.
Boy mom,
Yeah.
like just how do I take care of and encourage the men in my life, and how do
Yeah.
I, how do I do that in a way where I'm proud to say I hear you, I hear your story, I hear your struggles, I hear your insecurities.
Right.
I think it's so important that we do that.
Yeah. Of course. And it does take a certain level of, I guess healing to get to that part and to recognize that that's even needed.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my God.
it took a long
But
time for me.
right. Like I need to show up in this area. What do I get it. I totally get it.
How do I do that?
Yeah. How do I even begin this, Lord? Okay. So my next question is how can someone recognize when they're caught in a trauma bond or emotional trap.
So yeah, that one's probably that one's not in my book, but that'll be book two
Hey, come on. I love it.
because I trauma. Yeah, I think you have to recognize what it is that's driving you. For me, I just want to love people. Like I just do. I want them when they're with me to feel safe, to
Yeah.
feel comfortable. Sometimes that, recognizing that they're holding on trauma
Yeah.
means that I'm trying to take it on for them. And I had that. I had a relationship where he was with me for about 9 months, and it was actually during the COVID period. And he was a vet and he did 2 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan after 9/11. So I I took on too much and I didn't recognize it. I didn't. I felt like it was my mission. I felt like it was my calling. I felt like, God
Yeah.
told me I'm going to use you to show him the true meaning of love. It wasn't about me. It was about what he needed. And so I bonded to that trauma in his life because I was like, I'm here for
Mhm.
you. I felt like I needed to carry it. And yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it was terrible in the end, unfortunately, which was a complete opposite from my divorce.
Mhm.
It's hard when you start dating
Girl.
after marriage. You're finding people where you want to be a significant part in their life. And the problem with my ex-husband was I wasn't. I was just I was a doll on his shelf,
Yeah.
like a doll he brought out and presented and blah blah blah.
Right.
As with this boyfriend, I I was a saving grace. Like I was the one who put him to bed sometimes when he drank too much.
Yeah.
I was the one who paid bills. Like I was just this person who showed up in ways that I should
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
responsible for. But it wasn't, I mean, yeah, kind of trauma bonded, but just that empathetic,
Yeah.
like my empathy just sucked in and just was like, I'm here.
Yeah. Right.
I,
Right.
I enjoyed feeling needed, and I hadn't felt needed or wanted in my marriage.
Yeah.
And I was both in this. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's something that we don't talk about enough, as women coming out of, I just call it a toxic relationship or toxic marriage, is fulfilling those needs. I want to say going too hard the other way, right? It's like, it's like I'm doing, this is what the Lord would want. And God is like, no, I didn't tell you to do that. You're doing too much.
I think that's why I think it's so important that some of the healing that we need to do is in relationships. So I
Yeah.
try to tell people, I'm like, listen, not every relationship you're gonna get into after your marriage or your divorce is
Yeah.
gonna work
Yeah.
because there was just so much, dysfunction. You
Yeah.
have to go through relationships to learn how to function
You
and
do.
right.
Yeah.
And have to hope that the other person knows what they're doing. They may not.
Right. Right. Oh my goodness. That's so good. So, with that being said, what does wholeness look like for you now, Johnny, both in faith and relationship?
Mm. Whoa, those are two very different things.
I know, I know.
So, wholeness for me in faith, I don't think I ever was really broken in my faith. I was thankful and gracious, and I put it in the book too, was I was able to separate faith from religion.
Mm,
There's the religious aspect of it there that is led by people. Because I was told when I was getting a divorce, I mean, I was a youth and young adult pastor. I was in a church. We were constantly. We were in a church plant, all of that. And I think when the news was coming out that we were getting a divorce, I don't think I had but one conversation from anyone in the church after that. They just they
Yeah. Yeah.
they scattered. And it's in the book. So I mean, it was um and that is a representation of religion. That is not a representation of my,
Yeah. That's
you know,
so true.
and I was, cleaning houses, youth and young adult pastor rapport. So I was
Yeah.
cleaning houses and I was the home of one of my regulars, and she had heard the news, and she looked at me and she was like, "Well, God hates divorce." And I was like, and at that very moment is when I heard in my spirit was God saying, "Yes, but I love you."
Mm,
That is the difference between
yeah.
faith and religion. A lot of people get super angry at because they see them together.
Yeah.
And church, you do you, boo.
Yeah.
I
Have
don't
at it.
love
Yeah.
it. There's a reason I stepped away in that area, but my faith is still there because I knew I wasn't hated. I've never felt hated by God. I've
Right.
never felt abandoned. I've never none of that. So
Right.
wholeness in faith has not been a problem. Wholeness in relationships, like I said, that comes from sometimes just being in a relationship.
Yeah. Give me one moment here, and I'm gonna edit this, so don't worry. like, like my device is trying to.
No,
Gonna just gonna adjust really quick here. Let's do this. I'm gonna change my angle. Goodness, I knew it was gonna try it. Click the camera off. We'll keep it rolling.
I'm okay with that. It's fine.
Yeah. Thank God for editing. Look.
Right.
This is why I don't do live yet. I'm like, people are like, it's gonna be live. No, we're gonna record because I'm a mom. Anything can happen, child. A child could run through. We don't know. We don't know. Or you
And
can hear fighting in the back. You guys, you do know I'm a professional here. They don't care. I'm like, your mom. All right, so we're all connected.
we're moms first.
Yes. Like, I don't care. All right, so let's do this because I don't want to have this in the background. No, I don't want to go bigger. Okay. I'm gonna rock like this. Bring me back down. Go back down. Wait a minute. Hold on. Riverside. There we go.
It's like, I'm still here.
This is so fun. So yeah, you can go ahead and pick up where you left off about we did
Being whole in
faith.
relationships.
Yeah, relationships.
Yeah. Being whole in relationships is a lot harder. I think if you're looking for a way to test your wholeness
Yeah.
without losing yourself in dating, and you date someone for 2, 4, 5 years and you're like, oh, well, this isn't the guy. you know
Right, right. Like this is not it.
I would test myself in my relationships with my friends, in my relationships with my family. Am I communicating the way that I need to?
Yeah.
Because the marriage may have sucked your ability to communicate, it has stopped your voice. And are you able to do that in conflict with your parents, your best friends,
Mm,
your kids?
yeah.
Are you able to assert yourself? Are you able to set boundaries with your coworkers, with your job, with your kids, with your parents, all of that? Because relationships, they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Right.
And you don't have to be in a dating relationship necessarily right away, but are you in healthy relationships in every area of your life before you get
Yeah.
an intimate?
I love that.
Yeah, and if you're not, then that's where you can start. And then you get to save pieces of your heart because you're not giving you pieces of your heart because you're waiting for this one person to come in and complete you. You're like,
Right.
"No, I want to be whole in
Yeah.
my workplace. I want to be whole with my kids. I want to be whole with my parents. I want to be whole with my best friends." To do that, that's where the really good.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love that. Being whole in the relationships outside of the romantic one. Oh my gosh. It reminds me of when I started this part of my journey. And the Lord literally hammered First Corinthians into my love is patient, love is kind. So, because I thought I knew what love was,
Yeah.
right? You know, when you, oh, this is love, and God is like, no, let me show you. And so when I got it in my spirit, and I mean, I would literally wake up and I would recite it and I would read it. And when I finally adopted it into my spirit, because when I say I was closed off, I was like, I don't care, bye. Like, I don't need it. But when God started working on me with that, He had me just basically indoctrinate that into my life with how I show up and with what I receive. So now I know when something doesn't line up with that part of the word, that hey, is that love? Is it? Or am I showing up in love? Am I being patient? It with my kids and my family, like you said, in those areas as well. So I love that. I love that. And it also made me think about, so Sunday, my pastor, she talked about being whole before being in a relationship, because a lot of women desire marriage. And so when I saw, looked at my calendar, I'm like, this is what we're talking about. This is so timely. She literally talked about, touched on it yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to go in, fragmented and, bring in, how they like to say, extra baggage from previous relationships. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so good.
Well,
So
and
good.
when you're doing that practice with your friendships, your professional relationships, you're good to in
Yeah.
any relationship. Your
Yeah.
practice makes perfect.
Isn't that the truth? Oh my goodness. And you kind of almost answered that question for the listener who's afraid to start over. I guess, what would you say to them right now? What word of encouragement would you say to them that you wish that you might have had, before you started, to open your heart to love again?
Um, to love again or
Let's
start.
just say start over, because that can be, we'll talk about love again on another episode.
Right, I know.
Let's say start over.
To start over, I think the starting over process looks scarier than it is. I think for us as women, sorry, I'm just gonna,
Yeah, that's primary audience.
we've done babies, we've done, single mom, we've done it. Like, we can do it. We can
Yeah.
start over. But I think for the person that's scared to do it, you anchor down. And that's one of the chapters in my book is find the reason why and then anchor down. Anchor down in the storm. Because for me, it was, I could see our paths were separating. I could tell that it wasn't going anywhere. Like, I would be miserable for the rest of my life.
Right.
I knew that that was happening. And so for me, my one phrase that I told myself over and over and over again was we were going to have two happy homes because we had one miserable. So for me to start over meant that my kids got two happy homes.
Wow.
And that was my anchor that held me through. That was my goal every time, the kids had to go home, and the regret or, just the ache when they
Yeah.
left me could have overwhelmed me. I was like, nope, when they come back to me, it's going to be, I'm going to anchor into this. The storm may be crazy. The storm
Hmm.
was crazy. The storm
Yeah.
is still kind of crazy sometimes. But the anchor is two happy homes. And you have to, if you're going to start over, find your anchor. Find the thing that holds the boat steady in the storm and don't let it go. Don't let it go. Don't let anyone cut that line. Don't let anyone go near it. Just anchor in.
I love that, Johnny. Find your anchor, ladies, and hold on to it. Yeah, yeah. I never thought about it like that. Just, the thing that you hold on to, right? And yeah, and now that I'm looking back in retrospect, I see that that's what kept me. Yeah, that's what kept me going, like holding on to that and believing, that I can do it. Oh my gosh, that's so good. That's so good. Joni, if you would tell our listeners where they can find you, where they can find your work, what you have going on at the moment. I know you mentioned the second book, but whatever you have going on at the moment, and then we'll close out. You can pray us out.
Okay. Yeah. So, unfortunately, due to the content of my book, my social media has been under attack, and I have had to create a new social media. I am now author Joni Woods.
Okay.
I am not back on Facebook, which
Not
is
either. I'm
what
gonna
is.
find Insta.
I have a blog that I really enjoy, and I've had it for a while now. It's at journeylifecoaching.life, and I mean, life just does not stop. And the thing that I am passionate about is I got to choose who I wanted to be. I wanted to be someone who was full of love and kindness. And every day
Yes.
I have to recognize that the challenges that I come against are not tests, but affirmations of who I want to be. And so I journal about it. And that's really where the first book came from. Was I was journaling through my divorce and just being like, this is some crazy stuff I'm going and here's what I and then I compiled it all together and then put it in book form. So I mean, it's happening now. The book was 9 years ago and I'm still learning how to live authentically, how to live genuinely, how to love with kindness first when the world doesn't appreciate that. So, yeah, you can find me there. You can find me email. Just hit me up. And then, of course, my book. My book is on Amazon. My book is on Barnes and Noble, Goodreads. I just don't want anyone to feel alone in this world.
Love that. I love your spirit, your heart. It's just so
Yeah.
beautiful to see. Oh my goodness. I'm going to post all of your links in the description. So, ladies, you'll be able to connect with her, purchase the book. Okay. Start your journey. All right. Starting over, healing.
Yeah.
Okay. Before entering into another relationship,
Yeah.
please. So yeah, I just love that. Oh my goodness. So yeah, if you would just pray us out.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Lord, I am just beyond honored to continue to show up the way that I truly believe you wanted me to. And Joachim will establish, and I believe that you have set this all up for this season. And I just pray that you help the story get into the hands of people who need to hear it. That all of this is meant for something bigger that I can't see,
Yes.
but that I trust. Just ask this in your name.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Beautiful. I love it. And I love what God is doing through you as well. Oh my gosh. Well, we will be in touch. Thank you again for encouraging my listeners, sharing your story. Well, at least part of it. They're gonna have to get the book to get the full. But
I mean, yes. Book clubs, do it all, ladies. Come on.
yes, yes. So, thank you so much for coming. And like I always say, thank everyone for listening. And remember that I love you, but God loves you more. Great.